Hi everyone, I'm Sue Brooks from SueBrook.com and DiscoverYourEyeBooks.com. This is our first book in the series. We're going to be talking a lot about books today, and I know the title is Write a Book, Get a Date, and there's a reason for that. We wanted to have some fun with this blab and get some fun conversations going on. Karen Strauss is with Rockstar Publishing House, and she's going to talk about what she does just in 1 second here, and she is all about books. And she's actually a big reason why this book actually came into fruition, and we're working on some other ones coming up. Susan Sheppard will be here shortly, and she is our relationship expert, and she can talk about the whole dating thing. So let's start with Karen here. Karen, why don't you tell us who you are, what you do, and whatever you want to talk about.
Sure. So I'm Karen Strauss. I've been in publishing now for about 30 years. Wow. Ever since the Gutenberg Bible, pretty much. And I've worked with mainstream publishers such as Random House and Macmillan and Crown in sales and marketing, publicity primarily. And then I started my own business called Strauss Consultants, where we work with traditional publishers in sales and some marketing as well and promotion. And I've been doing that for a long time, and I still do work with my traditional publishers. And then a number of years ago, I started working with self-publishing authors because they didn't really know, once they had their book, they would print 2,000 or 5,000 copies and put it in their garage and then not know what to do with it. Right. So I started helping them get online and helping them to get more distribution and more promotion. And then 3 years ago, I started Rockstar Publishing House with Craig Duswall, who runs an organization called Rockstar Marketing. And we are a hybrid publishing company that works with authors, and we get your book done from soup to nuts. We help you promote it, market it, and then we have a major distributor as well, getting our books out to stores and libraries and online.
Great. Can you explain, just because for me, the word hybrid, why is it called hybrid? What does that mean, really?
Sure. So at least in my lexicon, hybrid publishing means that it's in between a traditional publishing house and a self-publisher. You're not self-publishing because you're not alone. You have us to help you. We are, in a sense, an author services company where you do pay for the services if you want the book edited, copy edited, typeset, designed. You pay for that. But we provide the ISBN, we have the distributor, we are guiding you every step of the way, just as a traditional publishing house would. So you, in some ways, you get a lot of the best of, you get exactly the same treatment as you would if you signed a traditional book publishing contract.
Okay, and I mean, if you have a traditional books contract, that's a lot. I mean, they usually take most of the publishing and you get very little of the book, right? And so when you self-publish like this, we get to keep the proceeds, I mean, the publishing and all that.
Right. Yes, so that's a good point, where if you are working with a traditional publishing house, the royalties are usually about 12% of the net, or 12% of the retail price. So, and they really do own all the rights to your book. So they can have the rights to the cover. They can really do a lot of things that you may or may not agree with. So they own the rights. Normally a contract is from about 5 to 7 years where they own the rights. And then after that, usually it automatically renews. So you have to be careful about that if you go that way. But with a hybrid, such as us, you get 70% of all the revenue, and you get to keep all the rights.
Okay, great. Yeah, this book that we did, Discover Your Identity, is a book that is a series, going to be a series of books, and this is the first one we did and just came out with. So we're doing this it's not one author for the entire book. We wanted it to be like chicken soup for the soul, where we can feature a lot of authors. So what the really cool thing about that is, Karen is one of the authors in the book, so am I. We have and then 15 total authors in there. So we each get to say that we're an author. We can buy the books at wholesale price, and then we can sell them and keep all of the money. So let's say we buy the book for $5 and we sell it for $10. We can make our own money doing the book. But the best part of having a book like any kind of book, and especially even just being an author in a co-author in the book, is you're actually an instant celebrity. And I actually experienced that because this is the first real book that I've become an author with. And I went to a networking thing the other night, and oh my gosh, people went crazy and people wanted to buy the book, and I was this celebrity. I'm like, okay, I'm just the same person I was, but it was kind of cool to be able to feel that way. I'm like, wow, everybody should do that. And it's easy. It's really easy. Karen made it really, really easy.
Thank you. People do look at you differently, and they treat you differently when they see that you're an author and that you're actually on Amazon. And it's really kind of a kick. Needless to say, I think it helps create, it helps you get more business, and it helps you meet people. It really does. I mean, the theme of this is write a book, get a date. And it's somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but in the real world, I think that's true. You know, wherever you go, you could say, you know, if they've heard of you or they've seen you somewhere, they do treat you like a celebrity, and they are more apt to want to meet you. Plus, you can get speaking engagements, and you can get on blabs like ours, or you get on radio shows, and so on and so forth. And people just want to, you know, be near a celebrity. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Have you ever written a book or wanted to write a book, Lisa? Ever had any kind of desire to do that?
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. I have the stories, that's for sure.
Oh, great.
It's putting them together and, you know, getting it all in one place is just something that I haven't quite gotten there yet, but it's
I find that we have these monthly phone calls with the Rockstar potential authors, and the biggest obstacle that people are overcoming is getting it all together, or they've got the story in their head, or finding the time to sit down and write. Or, you know, I also find it's interesting to me where they sit and they sit at the computer and they want to write, and then they start writing, but then they try and do it in chronological, in some kind of order, and then start editing and start fixing. Yeah. And I think you should just write like the wind and forget about spelling and forget about order even. Just write as it comes, or you can even talk on your phone as you get ideas. And then we can even provide someone to help you transcribe, you know, your notes into a cohesive book. So there's a lot of ways people can do this without actually sitting down and writing everything.
That's true. I've heard that people just record it and then you send it in to get it transcribed, like to Fiverr or any of those places, and then you just pay someone to just go, here's the recording, here's what I want to say, and then they write the book for you.
You know, and they'll write the notes, but then you would have to go through it and formulate everything and see if it's the story you want to tell. Or we also have what's called developmental editors, where we could give it to another editor who could then put it in a form that, you know, just by talking to you, they'll put it in the form that you want it. So you could do it almost by talking to people. Someone did it by he's a coach, and he interviewed what would be a prospective client, and he worked with what would be a prospective client, and then took notes from their sessions, and the book came out of the whole sessions because he was writing a book about his coaching program. So he actually took someone through the program and he recorded it, and that's how we got the book. So it's very cool.
That would be cool. And I know where somebody wants to. We work with Craig Deswald, and you're partners with him with this, and he does a whole thing on how to write a book in 30 days. and I know, Karen, you probably know this way more inside and out than I do because I don't have that book, but I have been to his book camp that taught us that. Can you give a little synopsis of how he teaches people how to write the book?
Yeah, it's a great method, I think. The How to Write a Book in 30 Days is, he tells you to first put everything either on index cards or on a whiteboard. And so the first thing you do is lay out the chapter headlines. He tells you also to start with a very short book, like around 96 pages, because it's really, it's much easier to start with a short book than it is to write a tome. You know, you don't want a 500-page book because you'll get paralyzed and you'll never finish anything. So he even says your first book could be a book of quotes. So one of our rock star people did that, and basically it was a book of quotes based on a theme. So, but the How to Write a Book in 30 Days is laying out first the chapter headlines, and you write those in index cards, and then once you have your chapter outlines, then you go through each chapter. You go through chapter 1, and then you decide what the subtitles are going to be and what you're going to write within those chapters. So if you have 10 chapters and it's going to be 96 pages, essentially it will be 10 pages per chapter. So then you just lay out the subtitles or the subchapters within the big chapters. And so now you've got an organized thing. And then it's a day-by-day primer, really. And each day he tells you what to do. So the first day is writing the titles. And then the second day is writing the subchapters. And the third day, so on and so forth. So each day he actually takes you through what you need to do. And then if you write something every single day, you get it done in 30 days. Most people take a little longer than 30 days. But it's usually done between 3 and 6 months, So yeah, I mean, if you use this methodology and you really follow it to the letter, you'll get done much quicker. But we can usually produce a book in about 10 to 12 weeks. So.
Right. That's cool. Yeah, I was going to show you our friend. Actually, she's in our mastermind as well. Deborah. There she is. She wrote a book. She loves football. She's from Nebraska, like I'm from, so we're both fascinated with that whole small townish thing. So she called hers "Get Off the Sidelines" and It's a Game.
Mm-hmm.
I can try to get there. And all she did was, it's just quotes like this. It's just pages of quotes, and she got them from a lot of different people. And then she got some famous people. She got a football player, I think, to write some testimonials on the back. And that's all her book was just a book of quotes. And people love it because they like just taking every day and reading a page of really positive quotes. So that's one thing to do, like you said. And then mine, I wanted to write my story. And I know Lisa and I have very similar stories as far as our past relationships go. But and I knew that my story kind of impacted some people, but I just didn't want to write one whole book on my story. So that's why I wanted to share it with people like Karen and Susan and the other people in the book. And then you can make smaller stories. And then if you want to expand on it, I know that several of the authors in here, they are going to take their shorter story and they have an author page. So this is an example of the author page, your picture, and you can talk about your business. Then they even said on there, okay, I'm going to be writing the full story later and you can find me here. So it's a good way to promote your business as well. It is, and
collaborative books are great ways to get your feet wet, because it's only about 1,000 or 1,200 words, which is what is that, about 5 or 6 pages, in a book. And then you have all your other authors who are helping you promote the book. So we're actually doing one with Greg. Yeah, his the Rockstar Mastermind. We're doing one called Rockstar Success. And so we're each writing a story which is about 1,000 words, and we're writing a story that talks about any kind of success in our life. It could be not only business, but it could be personal as well, or overcoming an illness, or establishing some kind of great relationship, or or whatever. But the amazing thing is Craig goes and speaks everywhere. His boot camps, have 500 people in it, and he's going to be giving away the book along with a lot of other materials when you sign up for the boot camp. So that's going to be tremendous promotion for all of us that are in the book. So plus we work on making all of our books really an Amazon bestseller. So we're all learning how to do Amazon bestseller campaigns. And so it's still, prestigious. You may not sell a lot of books on it, but it's still somewhat prestigious. Especially if you want to get speaking engagements or want to be on the radio to be called a #1 best-selling Amazon author or an Amazon best-selling author, it will let people, take notice. So, which is great. And we're going to be doing a blab on how to create your own Amazon bestseller campaign. So watch for that. That's going to be in early November.
Yeah. So what's kind of cool about that is if anybody can be a bestseller, it's like, it's not New York Times bestseller, but it's Amazon bestseller. So I know that I just wrote a really quick little tiny ebook. It was just an ebook called How to Find the Right Tutoring Program for Your Child. And I put it up on Amazon, and I just told everybody, I said, okay, everybody go and get this book. I think I just did it for free even. And I picked a thing, and then all of a sudden someone, and this is before I even knew about this Amazon bestseller thing, and all of a sudden they took a screenshot, and I was a bestseller. I was #1 on Amazon in that category. Like, oh, cool. I sold like 7 of them.
That's awesome. That's right. Right. And that's another thing you can do. Amazon has something called Kindle Singles. So, and now those are very short. They're shorter than even 96 pages. I think they're like less than 20 pages. So you can write an ebook that's between 10 and 20 pages and just put it up on Amazon and talk about any of your topics, anything related to your business or anything that you want to help you. Anything to help you get noticed or get a bigger platform.
Yeah, no, I like that. So what, I know that here's what I get. Okay, I talked to this girl the other day. She found me, I don't know, on Facebook or something. She lives in town, and she heard me talk about the book, and she called me, and she's just can't wait. She just says, oh my gosh, I want to do this. I want to do this so bad. I don't even know what to do. I don't know how to get started. I don't know anything about that. And I'm doing these blabs and talking about books too. And I'm showing everybody this everywhere, of course, because I want people to know about it. But I get so many people saying, how did you do that? I don't even know where to start. So if someone says that to me or you or any, I hear people, what should we tell them to do first?
If they want to write a book?
Yeah, if they want a book, or if they want to write a book.
Well, and I would think about the topic first that they want to write about, and then I would ask your friends. Put out like little feelers on Facebook, or just talk to people and say, I'm thinking about writing a book on these 5 topics. What do you think what would be of greater interest to you? If it's a business book, then certainly ask your clients or ask people in the field, what do you think would be of interest? I'd also do some research on Amazon or bn.com and look at, if you've picked a few topics already, look at other books, go into a bookstore, look at other books that are in your genre. And so if there are a lot, maybe maybe that's not the best thing for you. But there's Susan.
Hi, sorry guys.
No worries. We've been talking books.
It was an emergency.
Well, you've been blabbing all day since 10 o'clock.
I know, and then I found out I had to take care of this banking matter for my daughter, or she was going to lose her car. So it's handled. It's done.
So
very good. So I was just asking what was if you're a prospective author, like one of the confusing things is, what do I do to get started? Like, what's the first thing we should do? So I was saying that you should write down, like 5 different topics you think that you would be interested in writing. And if it has to do with, your business, then ask your clients or ask other people in your field, would this be of interest to you? Take a little poll on Facebook. Go to Amazon and also or bn.com or bookstores and look at other books in your topic and see how popular it is, and see where you could actually fill in the gap to do that.
Right.
So, and if it's your personal memoir, then that's your personal memoir. I think there's always room for that if you've got a story, to tell, that you're willing to be authentic and real and really be forthcoming with people. I think that's always of interest. So that's what I'd say to do first. Yeah. And then, after that, I would just say, see what you can come up with in terms of, I don't know about a schedule, but write, don't be overwhelmed. Just write a little bit every day. We were talking about Craig's program, How to Write a Book in 30 Days, and how that methodology, I think, really works. And so I think the key is don't overwhelm yourself. You don't have to do this in a day. So,
right. So when I wrote my first book, the first one, this one.
I'll be right back. I have to go I'll be right back.
Yes.
What happened was I knew that I wanted to write it. I didn't have a clue how to do it. And I actually had a client who was a writing coach. And so we traded services for a while, and she gave me an outline, a format to use to basically, and it's very similar to what Craig suggests when he does the 30-day, and you do the chapter headings and then put 3 things under each thing. It was very similar to that. But then when the actual writing part came, it was really interesting what she had me do. And I actually flew to Hawaii. She was living in Hawaii. And for 2 weeks, I stayed with her. And every morning we wrote for 3 hours. And the deal was this: we're going to write for 3 hours, and then we're going to play the rest of the day. Because I had never been to Hawaii, and she was living there. So I'm like, oh, this sounds like fun. I could do this. I can write for 3 hours, whatever. And the interesting thing that she had me write was, take a look at what you've written so far in terms of your heading and your three points that you want to make in there. And then just start writing. And just write everything that's in your head about that subject. Don't think about organizing it. Don't think about putting it in order. Don't think about the grammar. Don't think about anything. Just write. And write it all down. And write without stopping. Just write for as long as you're going to write. And so I wrote the first 6 chapters of my book in that 2 weeks that I was there.
Wow. It's amazing. It's true. I find that when you sit yourself down and it's a topic that you really love,
and you know about,
with the story that I did, Discover Your Identity, once I decided to commit to my story, and it was about my very difficult relationship with my mother. Once I decided to commit, it just really poured out of me.
It flows.
It flows.
Absolutely
it just flows. And I didn't worry, like you said, you don't worry about editing or spelling or grammar or anything. You just let it come. You just let it come. And if you're struggling with writer's block, then, maybe that's not the topic you're loving at that moment.
Well, writer's block, all that writer's block is you don't know what to say.
Right.
You don't know what to write about. But if you already have it outlined, what your points you want to cover, I mean, really, you're just saying, I want to talk about this. And if it's a subject that you talk about on a daily basis, you have a lot of info in your head. It's very crowded up here.
Right.
Okay? So all you do is you take a look at that and then sit for a few minutes and think, close your eyes, think, say, okay, gather all the thoughts in my head that pertain to this little segment, and then start writing. And just write down everything.
And, it took me, I procrastinated for a very long time. When I became publisher of Rockstar, So I was working with all these authors, and I've been working with authors for 30 years, and never really entertained writing a book because I never thought I was a good writer. I didn't love writing. I would rather go sell your book and promote your book than write a book. And then since I've been in the rock star thing, everybody's writing books, and I become a publisher, and it's like now there was a lot of pressure. I guess I have to, walk the walk and talk the talk and walk the walk. So I kind of procrastinated for like a year and then said, okay. And in a mastermind, I actually committed to everyone that in 3 months I was going to have this book, and I was going to walk on stage in March and have my book. And it was like, okay, now I'm really going to do it. So I wrote a book called Book Publishing for Entrepreneurs, Secrets from a New York Publisher. And it's true, and I used Craig's system where writing the chapter headlines was really helpful because then I knew exactly what I was going to say. And then everything flowed from there because I do know this topic so well. Yeah. I could have written, a 1,000-page book on it, but so we started with 96. And I'll write 10 books then.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Right. This is what I learned about putting my book on Kindle. My little book, this little itty bitty, it's not an itty bitty book, but it's a little book. Where is my little book? I don't even know. Oh, here it is, right here. This little book. Okay.
What?
No,
it's not
an itty bitty.
I wrote this as an experiment because I said, everybody's talking about Kindle and writing Kindle books and stuff. And it's like, I could write a Kindle book. In fact, I have articles I've written that are long enough to be books. So I pulled one of my articles out and I said, okay, I'm going to turn this into a Kindle book because I want to see, I just want to see what happens. So I did it all by myself. I did every bit of it myself. I wrote it. I uploaded it. I designed the cover. I had pictures taken to make that cover. I sent the pictures to my graphics guy who put it together and made the cover. And then I put it out there and I said, yeah, I'm going to do a bestseller campaign. So I did a Amazon bestseller. I put it out there for free for 48 hours and put notes everywhere. Say, put it on Facebook, put it on my blog, put it on everything. Say, okay, go for it. It's free for 48 hours. It became a bestseller in one day.
Yeah, we're just talking about that before you got there. I did that with my tutoring book. I just wrote that book seriously in practically a day. I got it all done. Same thing. I designed the cover, put it up, and did the exact same thing you did. And then Randy Gold in our mastermind sent me a thing. Look, you're a bestseller. And I was, what? It was so cool. I'm like,
it's up there now. It sells for 99 cents on Kindle. Okay. Right. This little 26-page book sells for 99 cents. Right. But I get a check every month from them.
Which is great. It's the way people find you. It's, as an author, it's the new way to discover new things to read, and everyone will spend 99 cents. It's like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So that's how you build a platform these days too. So I was talking before about writing a Kindle single, which is like 10 to 20 pages, is an ebook, and so and then you can write a longer version of that to create into a book.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So my workbook is about ready to come to you, by the way.
Yay!
Finally. It's only taken. And it's not even because it wasn't written, because it's been written the whole time. It's just a matter of getting it presentable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I just, because you were talking, I wanted to add this, this is an example. I just posted the link to my author page on Amazon. So if you even write, even if it's just a little Kindle book, you can go make an author page. And when you click on that, it's like, oh my gosh, you look like a rock star. You just look like somebody famous. So we all have our own author pages on Amazon. And then as you keep writing books, the little tutoring one that you can see on there is just a 99-cent Kindle book, and then the identity book. So it's just such a cool thing just to have a book and just to be able to say that you're an author. So, and it's fun. It's so fun. And now it's addictive because I think we all want to. We all want to
We wanted to also elaborate on the, the date part of writing a book. And I was saying before, how,
what is it? Get a date.
Oh, yeah.
Get a date.
Write a book, get a date.
Well, because you become a rock star.
You treat it like a rock star, right? So people want to meet rock stars and celebrities, but I think you get out and meet more people just by doing blabs like ours and getting on the radio and getting speaking engagements and so on and so forth. But do you have other things I'm sure you do, to add to that?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Talk about your program.
Well, you are the relationship expert, and I guess since we are on here, and there's probably people that haven't seen it.
I should introduce myself.
Susan, real quick, just go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
So I am Susan Sheppard. The name of my company is Getting What You Want, and I'm a relationship expert. I'm actually a life coach, but I focus on relationships, and I really love to work with people who've had their hearts broken or wounded and are scared to try again. And they would like to be, I just help them to find love again. So what happens is I'm actually a healer and an influencer, because that is the work that I've done my entire life. I was an ER nurse for 40 years and saved a lot of lives that way. Now I just look at it, I'm just saving lives a different way, because the people who get relationships out of the work that we do, their life changes. They end up with a totally different lifestyle even. And I have an amazing track record over the past 25 years of doing this. So I do that. I write books. I did my little calendar, which was it was kind of a whimsy idea to make a calendar. And I presented it to our mastermind. I said, hey, I was thinking about making one of these calendars where the women get nude, and it's for women over 50. So any of you ladies out there who are over 50 who would like to participate in this, volunteer. And 25 women volunteered. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is cool. So then I spoke to Stephanie, and Stephanie said, yeah, I'll take the photos. And so we started taking pictures. We kind of knew what we were going to do with it. I knew I wanted to make a calendar, but I didn't know how to make a calendar. I didn't know any of that stuff. So we just put it together. And then the people who wanted to participate participated. And then those people who got their photos taken got to be in the calendar. So that's why we have this amazing calendar.
Very cool. I just want to welcome Clarissa real quick. She's new to Blab, kind of like we all are. We've been doing it for a few weeks here, but hi, how are you? So how about you introduce yourself real quick, and then Susan's going to show us all this calendar that we
What a great idea. I love that.
So tell us who you are and a little bit about your business, and where are you?
I'm a native New Yorker, born and raised baby.
Oh, do you live in New York now?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Are you in New York?
Yeah, I am. I'm in New York.
Okay.
We're in California.
Oh, nice. Oh.
We're California.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 85 degrees today.
So
it is.
Anyway.
So I'm a behavioral scientist and researcher, and the author of a very tongue-in-cheek relationship wellness blog called You'reJustADumbass.com.
Oh, now it makes sense.
Hey. We should talk. You and I could have some great conversations, I think.
I would love it. So the blog is really some of the cognitive behavioral techniques that I created. I just re-engineered some of the traditional therapeutic model, and created more like less clinical, less labby, more like mass consumption type of advice, because I really wanted to create free public science. I really did. And yeah, I discovered Blab, I don't know, maybe like a month ago. And I've really have been playing this observer role and small participatory role. And then I was just like, okay, I could continue to say, okay, get ready to do your show, get over it, do something, get out there. And I was like, you know what? Love Lab. That's what you do. So tomorrow is the debut of my new show. It's called Love Lab.
Well, there you go, Susan. You need to get Susan on there.
Yes, I love that.
Okay.
So do you have a book, Clarissa, or you wanted to write a book?
So that's part of one of the arms of the blog. Is I was piloting book chapters as part of how I started, the blog. Mainly because I was in a healthcare career and, coming in from administration and academia. So I didn't know how to, merge into the entrepreneurial world or social media. I still don't understand it, so.
I don't like it.
You don't have a choice.
So yeah, You're Just a Dumbass was part of a book series idea that I've been piloting book chapters on the blog, and that's another thing that I'm like, okay, get your book together and get it all, because I am interested in getting the at least one book out and then work on the subsequent series.
Well, let me know if I can help you, Clarissa.
Karen, you're the best.
I'll be happy to. Yeah. Just email me at Karen@rockstarpublishinghouse.com.
Oh, yay. Okay.
Yay. And we're in New York, so we'll have coffee talk.
Yay.
We'll have coffee.
I love it. At Rockstar Publishing House?
Yeah, rockstarpublishinghouse.com.
I'm going to type it in. I'm typing it into the thing. So, yes, and one of our, I don't know if you were in here, Clarissa, Susan and I and Karen are all in this book, Discover Your Identity, where it's a book series like Chicken Soup for the Soul. And they're all, we're calling the Discover Your I book series. And one of the next one's going to be Discover Your Intimacy. So you have to be an author in that book.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So go ahead, you guys. Ask more questions. So anyway, any other stuff? So you live in New York, and do you do coaching and things too, or mostly blogging, that kind of thing?
I got to tell you that I just started to look at how to build out You're Just a Dumbass and build out my brand a lot larger. One of the things I was doing before I focused on this was I was the co-founder of a nonprofit. The majority of my work I did in HIV/AIDS. So I co-founded a nonprofit that was focused on women in HIV/AIDS. So, a lot of my head and heart was always there. And now my head and heart is moving towards, moving away from a disease model and focus on, just like Susan was saying, healing. And everybody said, focus on healing in a different space. And so I've really just started this journey just recently. My mom passed away in April, and I haven't been able to be productive. And it's only been about a month that I've just started getting back into my own groove and getting back into thinking about what I still wanted to accomplish. And, the difference is that I just don't want to do any work that
doesn't have any meaning.
Me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I really, this is a lot more work, but I'm really loving it, and I'm really enjoying just learning about these different platforms and learning about, so many things that really connects you and helps you be empowered as a woman, especially on Blab. It's, you turn on the channel and you have 4 dynamic women right here telling you, listen, this is doable. This is reality, So I've just started the process, and, I'm having fun with it. It's a lot of work, but little baby steps,
Are you doing individual coaching, or you're not doing the, do you want to do that?
I really don't know. I've only started asking myself these questions only these last few weeks. What do I want to do? I mean, I was doing clinical work. I was doing administration. I was already doing entrepreneurship, but it was always under hospital, another person, so I'm kind of just figuring out what it is, what elements I'd like to do and what elements I wouldn't like to do. Part of one of the other things that I was developing is I created the algorithm for an online dating concept that I finally want to put that solution out to the world. So I think I want to be more on the tech side. I think I want to be more like,
oh, why don't you come and live in California with me?
Yeah. Reason needs that completely.
I need a tech person.
But so do I.
That has the same mindset.
So do I.
You should have seen me on my blab that I tried to do 2 hours ago. I couldn't eat. I always was terribly mortifying and embarrassing. I didn't have any sound. I couldn't get the picture to work. I couldn't get the sound to work. I couldn't hear them. They couldn't hear me. I was like, oh, I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah.
Funny. Wow. So, anyway, so Susan, go ahead and finish because I want Clarissa to hear about the calendar.
Oh, all right. So this idea about the calendar came one morning. I was watching Good Morning America, brainstorming. I wanted to do something fun. It was like, okay, I'm doing all this coaching and I'm doing all this, presentations and doing all that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to do something fun. And so Helen Mirren was on the show talking about 100-Step Journey, a different movie altogether. But I remembered that she had been the one who was in the Calendar Girls movie. And I went, we got a lot of women in our mastermind that maybe we should do a calendar like this. So I called Craig and I said, hey, what do you think about this idea? And he's like, oh, no, not for me. I said, not for you, for me. I said, it fits with my brand, not yours. He went, oh, well, yeah, it fits with your brand, but I can't have anything to do with it.
Right.
Whatever. I said, I just want to know what you thought about the idea and would you promote it? Well, of course I'll promote it, but no, and it's not about me. I said, I'm going to get your wife to be in it. Stop it. But anyway, it just blossomed. You want to hold up the pictures?
pages.
All right, you hold up the pictures. Okay,
I'll hold
so
the pages while you're
Susan, me,
explaining.
and you too.
right. Oh yeah.
I
So
will.
what
I'll show 'em
happened
all.
was we have these photographers that are in our mastermind, Stephanie and Val, and Stephanie is right there. She's beautiful. She's been a model, a top model for years, and she's a photographer now. And she's not old enough to be in the calendar, but I talked to her about it. I said, what do you think about this idea? And she just went crazy. She said, I love it. I love it. Love it. And she does boudoir photography. So the next time our mastermind met, I rented a suite and Stephanie set up her photo booth and 4 women got their photos done. And she did full photo shoots on everybody. So show her, well, that's me. Because I'm the love coach.
I love it.
And I'm February.
Isn't that amazing?
I'm this February.
Oh, that's cute.
And then
Somebody else. She's at 50.
she's a folk singer. And so she's in her mid-50s. Yeah, she was outside naked.
That's awesome.
And then show her Karen.
Miss
Oh,
November.
She's November. So Karen is Miss November, and she is
Oh my God, how cute.
black and white and
Great
gorgeous.
shot.
That's her, black and white and gorgeous.
She did it, thank you. She did it black and white.
Awesome.
So, because what's black and white and
Because
red
it's
all
print.
over?
Black and white and red all over.
Yeah.
So this is one of our members who's 75 years old,
Wow.
and she wrote a book. She's actually an engineer and has a PhD in engineering, I think. And she wrote a book on football facts for females. If you can't beat them, join them. And then this Deborah's an educator. And her first comment when she heard about the calendar was, there's no effing way I'm being in a calendar like that. And look at her. She's gorgeous.
He was the one who wrote the book that Sue showed earlier. Yeah.
This one.
Get off
Get off
the
the sidelines and into the game.
Oh, wow.
And it was just a book of quotes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which is a great way to start.
And then this is Sue. She's our rock star because she was married to a rock star who then ran away with her best friend and married her instead. And then Sue got hit by a truck, and then she was alone and broken in the hospital and discovered that she had friends of her own and that actually she could do something on her own. She started her own tutoring center, and now she has a school.
Oh, awesome.
No, I'm the rock star.
The whole idea of doing this calendar, what came to me was this. The work that I do with women in my coaching program is all about teaching them how much their feminine power rules the world, because feminine power has all the power in relationship, every bit of it. Men do not care about the power in the relationship because they don't really want as much from the relationship as we do. They want, they want approval, appreciation, and sex. And they want someone to be comfortable. They want to be comfortable. Whereas women basically raise the quality of life for a man. Always. When a woman enters a man's life, she raises the quality of life for him. And I don't think that is, I don't think that's a sexist statement at all. I think it's a reality. And so my goal is for each woman to own her beauty, her sensuality, her sexuality, and passion and desire to make the world a better place. And that women are extremely creative. Men are creative too, but they're creative in a different way. Women are creative in a very circular way. We create about the experience of doing things, whereas men create for the end result. And so the whole idea of doing this calendar, it morphed into, it's a calendar that absolutely empowers women to own their feminine power, to step out of their comfort zone and do things that are way beyond. And the experience of having this nude photo shoot, for the people who freaked out about it, and there was several, I think Karen was one of them, who was really,
even with trade secrets,
really scared to do it.
Yes, I was.
Absolutely. I know. And I mean, I wasn't scared to do it because I'm sort of crazy anyway. But there were several women who were really frightened about doing it, but they did it anyway. And the reality was that it was a out of your comfort zone experience. It stretched their comfort zone. And what happens when people go outside their comfort zone and stretch is they never go back to where they were in the first place.
And I think that's a great point, Susan, that writing a book also takes you out of your comfort zone in a big way. I won't name names, but there's a woman in our group that has been wanting to write a book for a couple of years now. And she's she's concerned about what other people in her field might think if she actually puts out in writing in public, what her program or master plan is. And so the fear of that has been paralyzing her from putting out the book. And so I hope that doesn't stop anybody there because I think it was so freeing. Like after I did that calendar, it was so freeing to me that, let's go again, and I'll pose again, and I want to write, 10 books now, because once you've done it and you've seen that you get a lot of love, you get accolades, you get,
you get recognition, and you get
right.
You get personal satisfaction, and I think that you expand as a human being every time you go outside your comfort zone. And it's part of the work that I do with all of my clients is I make them stretch. I make them stretch from day one. And I tell them to do things. And sometimes as I'm telling them to do things, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, they're never going to do this. They're going to walk away. They're going to fire me. And they do it. And they do it. And I had one of my clients, she said to me, and I was so touched by this comment, but her comment to me was, I said, why do you do these things that I tell you to do that I know you're terrified to do? She said, because I trust you more than I'm afraid.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was I was blown away by that, because that is just so incredible to have someone say that to me. I trust you more than I'm afraid, and I will do what you tell me to do, even if I think it's crazy.
Wow.
And they do it, and they get results. So even my crazy ideas work, But the whole thing is it's all about empowering women. And really, I think that women on the whole have been, this may sound like sour grapes, but it's not. It's just an observation that women on the whole have been treated like second-class citizens for generations and generations and generations. And now it's time for us to step up and own our power and recognize that, we have power to not only give birth to children, but give birth to ideas and creativity, and that we deserve to be cherished in everything we do. And that's what I teach in my coaching.
That's great. So Clarissa, are you single?
Listen, I just got engaged.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah. It's like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Wow. You just got engaged.
Yeah.
Is this the first time?
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Wow. So, I forgot what I was going to say.
Something about being single.
Anyway, I forget.
We're
Yes,
all
I'm single.
We're single. I'm single.
Yeah.
We are. All of us are. It's so much fun. We were talking with another reason why we did the Write a Book, Get a Date was because Susan and I have actually started doing some blabs together, and I love helping people who have business ideas or help people that have businesses market their business and stand out. And I'm really, really passionate about single women entrepreneurs. That's like my passion, because it's a really, really hard thing to do all by yourself, to be a single woman entrepreneur. I've been doing it for years. And so anyway, we've been doing a lot of stuff together, and I'm amazed at the number of men, awesome, wonderful men that are coming in and talking to us about that subject. And then the women, oh my gosh, last night we had an amazing 3-hour blab, and we just had some amazing women entrepreneurs, men entrepreneurs coming in and talking, and oh my gosh, it was the best conversation. But yeah, so it's really cool that you're in here today.
Blabs.
And
I don't like doing much of the other social media, but I like doing the blabs.
Me too.
We're meeting friends, meeting new people that we want to meet in person.
And it's so
eventually.
easy, like anybody can really do it, despite our challenging difficulties. Yeah,
besides our technical challenges.
Yeah, I had one tonight too. But once once you get through that, it's just a really easy thing to do, and it's just like having a conversation, like you said, with friends. It's not a formal thing, and it's immediate, which is really great.
Right. So I have to ask Clarissa, where did you get that you're just a dumbass name? I'm sure you get asked that all the time.
Well, I got to tell you, it started off as a conversation to myself. Yeah. Because I kept, I think I did the things just like every other woman. And I think because I'm a scientist and I'm an overachiever, I would constantly criticize myself much more harshly after every single relationship. Yep. So it wasn't like, okay, you had relationship failure, get over it. It was like, you're just a dumbass, Clarissa. How did you miss 7,000 red flags? Are you retarded? That's what I would say to I'd be like, was I asleep?
I do that all the time.
I was just like, was I asleep during this relationship?
This is why I'm a coach. My clients, they call me with the craziest things, unbelievable crazy things that they're, this is what I did. What should I do? I'm like,
Oh, you have a fan in the room, Clarissa.
Well, so that's how it started, and so it took me 41 years to find my fiance. 41.
I think that's a great time. It's a great time.
That's perfect. I think it's perfect.
I think people who get married in their early 20s don't know what they're doing.
Oh, they're back in my pool.
Yeah.
They're back in
They're just a dumbass, Well, what I've discovered, I've been doing this relationship work for 25 years. And I started out doing couples. And what I found with the couples was I would get blown away because they all got married knowing what they were getting divorced for before they got married. And I'm like, why would you do this? Why did you marry this person when you knew this? Well, I thought they'd change their mind. Oh, I knew we could handle it. Oh, I figured, we had love and that's all we needed. And I'm like, oh my goodness, these people are so dumb.
You see? You see?
I know.
So, my joke is always like, listen, when you would never want to hear unfiltered clinicians talk. Because if you ever heard us talk unfiltered.
I was one, remember?
No, that's what I mean. Like, you would never want to hear us talk.
Yep, never.
Because we're just like, what the F? How did you not see the knife in your eye? You're like,
exactly. Or somebody comes in with a knife stuck in their head going between both lobes and you go, oh, okay. Walking in looking like that, and you're like, what did you do? Well, and it's like, oh my God. How could you be so dumb?
I joke around all the time, and I was like, you know what? My blog and my online dating algorithm all developed. It was necessity, right? That's the mother of invention, right? I was fed up with all these online dating sites, and I've tried every single one for years. Okay, and then just being out in the scene in New York. Yeah, I live in a very populated place. It's a lot of people. But it's just, it just shouldn't be so hard. So the reason that I created, everything I created was I could never understand how me and all of my friends, including, right now, the 3 women in this room, I could not understand how in the world could these women be single. And then I turn on Tinder or I listen to a friend tell me about Tinder or Plenty of Fish. And I'm like, how does that kid rank? And you have professional, smart, sexy people that you're like, forget that profile. Let's go to the crazy one. I want that crazy girl. I'm like, get out of here. So that's what I'm going to focus. I'm telling you, Love Lab, it's going to be all real conversations. Tell the truth. No. Tell the truth. You know what I mean? I'm starting off with money, and I'm going to keep focusing in on money. I love when people are like, money doesn't matter. I want to go down. I think people are such liars.
They're liars. Of course they are.
What?
So, how I got started was I got divorced and I took every relationship course I could find because I wanted to learn from myself. I didn't want to be a relationship coach. I was a business coach. And I'd been running hospital emergency rooms for 20 years. And it was like, okay, I need to know I can do something different. But I took all these relationship courses because I wanted to know for myself. It was like I had a great husband, but he was damaged. He had PTSD from Vietnam. And, he's deceased now. He died in 1999. So he's been gone for a long time. But the reality is that he was a great man and a lost soul. And I realized that, I attracted this man. So if I don't do something to change my perception, I'm going to get the same thing all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what started me on this whole path. And then, well, I might as well tell you the rest of the story. So I started dating this young man who was 18 years younger than me. He was Persian. He was Jewish. He was the firstborn son of 7, and his mother and I were the same age. So, we didn't last too long. But he went back to his old girlfriend who was, I think at the time she was 26, he was 28, and I was 46. And it was like, she's a bimbo. And they had this horrible relationship up and down and all over. And they're getting married and they're having a baby and they're not having a baby and they're not getting married and they're breaking up and they're back together. And it was all this drama. And she was so nasty to me for 2 years. And then one day I happened to call and she goes, I'm so glad you called. I really want to talk to you. And I'm like, why? You don't like me. And she said, you're right. I don't like you, but I see he's different with you than he is with me.